Living, another bittersweet show for us as we complete our last week as a 30-minute show, but we've got a lot to talk about regardless. So we're going to discuss the importance of mental health and talking to professionals to help you. Also, we have a pet of the week, which, you know, there is such a thing as a therapy dog, and I think a dog could also be really good for your mental health. So maybe you need to adopt. We'll visit with our friends and learn about a pet of the week. And we're going to get a visit from good old Robert Heil at Heil Law Firm to learn more about his efforts and all the great things he's doing to help children in our community. So thanks for joining us. You're watching Coastal Living. We all know by now that it is so important to prioritize our mental health, not only for ourselves, but for our children. We should look out for our families. You're never too young or too old to address some of the issues that you may have. And sometimes it takes a little help to figure out and to pinpoint where these things are coming from. It may be where you least expect it. Today I have Miss Jamie here with DFW PMA BH of Corpus Christi to explain the unique approach they have to addressing mental health issues and helping you explore your inner self and be the best version of yourself. So it's so great to be with you today.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
Of course. So first, let's explain all these initials,
okay.
These letters. What does DFW PMA BH stand for? What do you guys do?
We are a multifaceted practice. We have psychiatry, we have psychology, we have therapy. We are soon going to have family medicine that will be in there as well. So we take this holistic approach to our patients, and our patients typically come to us looking for, just like you said, something is going on, whether small, whether big, something is happening, and they're looking for that help.
Absolutely. And as parents or as children, and we're looking out for our parents, we want to help as much as we can, but life is so busy, and truly when it comes to trauma or mental health issues, it can be really hard to pinpoint where these things are coming from, as I mentioned earlier. So you specialize in the therapy, right?
Correct.
You're the director of therapy. Where do you see that there are so many pros to this collaborative effort, and what specifically does the therapy part do?
Therapy really helps the patient to understand themselves, the inner workings of the thought process, the impulse control, the way we think, the cognitive part of our brain. We use a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, restructuring those thoughts, rewiring the brain, if you will. So many times we learn things when we're this big, and it carries us all the way into adulthood. I know it's very cliche, you know, tell me about your childhood, tell me about your parents, tell me about your upbringing, and people are like, I don't want to talk about that right now, I need to talk about this. But all of that has led to this. You can come just for therapy. You can come just for psychiatry. The beauty is medication and therapy work so well hand in hand and work so well together, because the medication helps settle the brain down, take some of those racing thoughts away, to where therapy can come in and make sense of the racing thoughts. Psychology is there to do a lot of testing, to test for ADD, to test for ADHD, to test for autism, to really get that deep testing and not just the surface level testing. A lot of times that happens with the school, for instance. With ADHD is probably the one that is diagnosed the most heavily. And sometimes it's not ADHD, it's impulse control, or it's oppositional defiance. Could be any number of things.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that we're in this era of kind of destigmatizing, addressing our mental health issues and letting it be a part of an open conversation, and understanding that we all got something going on that could definitely use a little bit of help from an outside source. So get in touch with our friends at DFW PMA BH of Corpus Christi. Let them know Coastal Living sent you, and get the help you or your loved ones need. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Now, Coastal Living's Pet of the Week.
It's it's time to introduce you to our pet of the week, thanks to our friends at Corpus Christi Animal Care Services. Meet Morris. He is a 6-month-old Labrador Retriever mix, and he is ready for a new home. He's a little bit anxious around new people and dogs, so it takes time to open up, much like many of us in new situations, am I right? Morris is also friendly with the staff. He's slowly opening up and enjoying the attention as well. He also loves running in the play yard, and who doesn't? He loves treats. So if you're interested in adopting Morris or any of his friends, don't forget they have cats as well. You can visit all the available pets Monday through Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. at Corpus Christi Animal Care Services at 2626 Holly Road. Familiar with the Give a Child a Book campaign, a campaign that runs all year long to help raise funds and money, of course, to provide books for children that otherwise may not have a book to hold, to call their own, and that is so important, right? So today we have Mr. Robert Heil with Heil Law Firm, a huge supporter of the Give a Child a Book campaign, and several others here in the Coastal Bend. And we have a local author, Anthony Falcon, who has his book to talk about today and quite a few topics. So I'm just going to let you guys get to it and talk to me about how impactful this campaign is and how Anthony is tied into this.
Well, it's really cool. Anthony and I met because of last year's powwow.
Yes, sir.
I'm honored to be among the supporters of the powwow, but I consider Anthony also to be a friend. The Lipan Apache tribe is doing such amazing things, and what really bonded us is that we realized we had a lot of similarities for some of the values that we shared.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we love to support kids and the Give a Child a Book and the literacy campaign, but Anthony is himself a very successful author, and so honored to be here today to talk a little bit about his new book and some of the values that we share, such as what we're doing to give back to the community. We got our Give a Child a Book coming up in May. We're going to be at Gloria Hicks Elementary, and we're honored to have Anthony Falcon as our speaker.
Very exciting.
To educate some of these kids, do some workshops, and just reinvigorate and talk a little bit about literacy and just making it fun for the kids, which really is our future.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, Clarissa. Robert, of course, bro, it's good to be here. Thankful for all the opportunities and the things we've talked about and discussed, the things we want to do. We realized that we were aligned in a lot of the things. Like you said, as Native people, we truly believe that our greatest resource is our children. So we try to honor that, and we try to nurture that, which is something that I try to do here locally in the Coastal Bend as an author. My book, Be Brave, Be Brave, Be Brave, it actually came out in 2019. I wrote it for my son when he was born. It is a Hurricane Harvey story. He was born when Hurricane Harvey hit, and as he was little and I would hold him, I would constantly talk to him about life and how life is hard. Look at what happened. He got born during a hurricane, and that's not normal. But you have to persevere. You have to be brave. And when you can't be brave and you feel as a child you can't, you look to your family, and your family's there for you and your ancestors and the people that are important to you, where you come from. It's so integral to who you become as a person. And my wife suggested I write it down for him, and I did. And that's where Be Brave came from. And as these years that I've gone being here as an author, trying to help kids, I've talked to the school districts and CCISD, A&M. I've gone and done some writing workshops to help the kids, hold on to that creativity. I feel that those kind of arts are lost right now. Unfortunately, some of it gets pushed aside the way that the school district is set up. They got to test, they got to go, I get it, but the creative kids were losing them. And I was hoping to supplement that. So I went in there and offered my services to do writing workshops for kids to help them be better writers, to understand the spoken word. But in talking to Robert, and we realized how kindred spirits we were, like how we both want so much for the community, how important the kids are. The truth is, we should be helping each other. There's no reason why we shouldn't. It's supposed to be what makes us great. putting that hand down, lifting people up.
That's what it's all about, right?
Definitely. Well, we're so honored to have you here today and, of course, to feature you and your beautiful work, inspiring to all of us, including myself, but particularly aimed at the students, and that's really what matters. So find a way to support Mr. Anthony Falcon, purchase his book, his comic book, and everything else he's got out. And then, most importantly, let's support our students, and if you can, donate to the Give a Child a Book campaign in any way possible. I know Robert has several fundraisers throughout the year. The Kicks for Class program as well has become very, very successful. And so again, just using our blessings to give back to the community, and even if it's a $5 blessing that you can afford to spare, it's going to make a difference. So thank you all both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Clarissa.
Community Corner is paid for by Robert Heil and the Heil Law Firm. Battling for justice, winning for the community.
We're off to a great start, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll visit with Eric Castillo, who's going to talk about the importance of having a reliable retirement plan to help you live all those retirement days out on the beach just like you planned. We've that and so much more to come on Coastal Living.
When it comes to retirement, I think many of us have this beautiful idea in our heads of us relaxing on a beach or in some fantasy location, not worried about money because we work so hard our entire lives to save up for retirement. However, if you don't have a retirement plan in effect, that may not be the future for you. So we have Eric Castillo with us. He is the founder of Cornerstone Wealth Management to give us some insight on where to get started, how to manage that, and what our portfolio should look like to ensure that dream retirement life that we're looking for. So it's great to have you here today.
All right. Thanks, Clarissa. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. So let's just start with the essential components of a good retirement plan that gives us that security we're looking for.
Yeah, well, I think the first part is just understanding how much do you need in retirement. And what I mean by that is what is the money that you need on a month in, month out basis to cover essentials such as mortgage payments, utilities, grocery bills. And then from there, leisure activities, because like I mentioned, you have to have fun in retirement. So, going out to eat, hobbies, vacation. And then the final part of that is I always think it's important to budget in different types of expenses that may pop up. Water heater breaks, AC goes down. So how much do you need in retirement? Once you understand that, then it's important to see, can your portfolio support those needs? And then the final part of that is, how much risk are you willing to take? Do you want your income to be bumpy, to have a bumpy ride, or do you want it to be smooth? And so in the 30 years that I've been in this business, I've found that having some sort of reliable income stream, that's going to take a lot of the pressure off the portfolio to basically hit those needs on a month in, month out basis.
Okay, very good. So we need some versatility, some variety there. Now, how about, technology is always changing. There are new approaches all the time. I know you've been doing this for a while now. Any new ideas, new vehicles, new approaches that we may be unfamiliar with that could be beneficial for that security we're looking for?
Yeah, it's not really about new vehicles, but really about what's the right mix of maybe ideas. And, the analogy I always like to use is when you're building a house, you can't just build a house with just hammer and nails, right? You need different tools. Well, retirement income planning falls along that same line. There are going to be some tools that are really good, like let's say a dividend portfolio. A dividend portfolio provides that yield, but there are going to be pros and cons. And then on the other side of that might be, let's say, fixed index annuities. Those can be good as a form of reliable income, but that too has pros and cons. And so how do you take the pros of one to offset the cons of the other and create that right mix? When you can build that right mix, it's going to give you a stronger foundation, and having that stronger foundation is going to give you a lot more confidence when it comes to your overall retirement goals.
Very good. Okay, this is really helpful information. And I myself am like, okay, maybe it's time for me to start looking into these things and securing my future as well. So how does this approach that you mentioned help retirees overcome that fear of the market volatility? I know there's a lot going on in the stock market, and we might be a little bit insecure about that.
Yeah, well, I believe it all goes back to having a process. And as part of that process, you should really have some form of reliable retirement income that's free from market volatility. And so, why is that important? Well, I really try to help my clients divorce the idea of market growth and income. What I mean by that is, when it comes to market growth, you need to have a part of your portfolio that is going to be in stocks and mutual funds, something that's going to grow over time to help keep up with inflation, protect purchasing power. As things get more expensive, you need to have a little bit more money to kind of address those needs. But when it comes to income, money that comes in on month in, month out basis, we want to be free from market volatility. We want to be consistent when it comes to those monthly income goals. So I believe, growth should be growth and income should be income. And that approach over the last 30 years, that served our clients well when it comes to reducing that anxiety and market volatility from a standpoint of income on a month in, month out basis.
Well, we've got a wealth of information from you today. And, as with any profession, right, we've got a lot of different folks to choose from. And as individuals, it's important for us to do our homework and kind of research who we're going to vibe with and who can help us understand what's best for our future. I think you've got a lot of information to share. So for anyone looking to get in touch with you, how do we do that?
Yeah, you can go to my website, Retire with CWM, cornerstonewealthmanagement.com, or feel free to call our office, 859-381-0555.
Fantastic. Well, it's great getting to know you and learning from you today. Thank you so much, and we look forward to speaking with you again.
All right, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
Moment or event, photographing that moment is probably one of the most important things you can do to make that memory last forever. I'm with Fonzie Munoz, one of the most famous photographers here in the Coastal Bend with so much experience, such a humble man. I see you shaking your head like, nah, but he's such a great man, and we've got an exciting event to tell you all about. So first, Fonzie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
You say a long time because I'm just getting older is what it is.
We all are.
So you get older, you've been here a long time. Mm-hmm. I've been in the photography business for 20 plus years, and photograph weddings, portraits, events, families, everything in between, high school seniors. So I've photographed over 500 weddings in the last 20 years.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
I had a couple come up to me and they got married in 2004. They've been married over 20 years.
Yes.
And they're one of my first weddings that I photographed.
Isn't that so cool?
So
and they're still together
yes,
because you took such great photos of them. That's why they've got that reminder on their wall. Right? No kidding, right? Well, so it is something that you're really passionate about, and you mentioned events around town. I see you everywhere. I'm like, Fonzie, my boy, you're photographing everything.
Yeah, I've been around Corpus for a long time. Born and raised here, so we love the community. We love Corpus Christi.
Okay, so speaking of which, you're going to host an event, right?
So we're hosting. Like I said, been in the wedding business for 20 plus years, and we wanted to do bring a lot of our vendors together that we work with on a regular basis, and bring the brides to the events. So we created the Coastal Bend Bridal Expo.
Very cool.
So we started planning everything. It's going to be at the Bay Jewel on Sunday, April 6th from 1 to 5. And we have between 20 and 25 vendors.
Awesome.
From cakes, florist, decorations,
videography, separate,
photography. Right? I'm not the only photographer. And then we have wedding planners, desserts.
Yeah.
And one of the unique features about this our bridal show is going to be, we just today we're invited a marriage counselor.
Cool.
A marriage counselor to talk about relationships, commitments,
communication.
So we're going to have a feature. She's going to be our guest speaker for the show. And Dr. Nelson is going to be our. She's a marriage and relationship counselor, so she's going to be our. She's going to do a little,
a little feature, a little sample,
feature,
sure.
20-30 minute little feature about weddings and being together. My wife and I have been together 23 years, and as you know, it's ups and downs and everything in between.
Yeah, especially for big things, planning a wedding, building a home, having a baby, making those big decisions can be some of the most stressful times.
After the cake is gone and the music's played,
that's true.
You have to go home.
Yeah, when you get out of that honeymoon phase, right, and it gets real, and you realize you don't fold towels the way that you thought you would. Okay,
exactly.
Very, very good. And as I mentioned, this will be a great resource for any type of big event that you're planning. And another thing I wanted you to mention was that you're going to be doing live photography.
I'm going to be doing a live bridal shoot during the show.
Okay, and we'll be able to see the real-time images just to show you how good he is. We don't need to edit. It's going to go right on the screen so you can see that magic.
Yeah.
So this event is April 6th at the Bay Jewel from 1 to 5. Tickets are
$10 pre-sale and $15 at the door.
Fantastic. How do we get in touch with you for your services or to check out more?
You can go to, you see, all of our vendors are listed at coastalbendbridalexpo.com.
Okay.
And we also have on Facebook, Instagram, and coastalbendbridalexpo.com.
Check out the expo. Be sure to mention that Coastal Living sent you, and you just want him on your short list for any event. Fonzie Munoz Photography, very, very talented man. Again, very reputable here in the Coastal Bend, so be sure to mention we sent you. Thank you. Today's show. Thank you all so much for joining us. Another bittersweet day here on Coastal Living. With that said, tomorrow is our very last episode, so please be sure to join us as we revisit some of the most special moments over the past 5 years that we've had the privilege of creating with you, our beloved community. So thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Let's keep the conversation going online at Coastal Living TV on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget, you can always find us and revisit us on our YouTube page at Coastal Living TV Corpus Christi. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.